Now, there's been mixed reaction to the state of the nation addressed by President Cyril Ramaphosa. A lot of promises have been made. Our reporters have been on the ground, getting a reaction from different sectors. Nqobile Madlala spoke to small business owners and joins us now in Durban. Nqobile, you spoke to some businesses and those in the digital space, and I'm sure they definitely want the rolling blackouts gone. What are they saying to you about the new Minister of Electricity?
I think, Heidi, everyone just wants somebody who can make the job, who can do the job. At this point, what we understand from those who are in the digital space, they're saying that it's been very difficult, that for the past few years, it's been very difficult for their business. It has dented their reputation all around. The young businessman that I spoke to says that he has work in South Africa and overseas, and this has been so difficult to him because whenever he has deadlines, he finds himself at a point where he's not able to deliver on time, which means that it has an effect in the work that he does. But even though that sometimes he may be able to work with the equipment that he has, he says that it's very difficult to keep it running for a long term, but also at the same time there's like network issues and so on, signal issues, and this becomes very difficult for them to even be able to do work, to begin to do work. So at this point they're saying that they just want somebody who's going to do work. There is a question around how this is going to work because, of course, we do know that there are ministers that have been tasked in the past to do the work, and at this point to have a new minister, everyone is just sort of looking at the fact that it might take time, but is that the time that they can afford at this point? And that becomes the huge question for the small businesses, especially when it has played such a huge role in the sort of turnaround time and in the sort of income that they're getting at this point because of that load shedding.
Came up with this amazing platform called Cloud Therapist where people can get therapy online, so people, they go to the websites they join, etc. So imagine, you are going like through depression or anxiety, you've booked an appointment with your therapist online because people, we do have like the physical mental health facility, but people, they have this anxiety of being judged and everything. So having this solution and everyone talking about me as I run a technology company, people are getting told every day that you need to move digital. But imagine with load shedding that, for instance, like a cloud therapist, they have like the physical facilities and then they have like the digital facilities. And then they have invested into a digital mental health platform. And then you set up an appointment with a client and then, or a patient, and then when they log in into, they're going through depression or anxiety, and then when they log in into the platform, and then boom, the electricity is off.
Now, Nqobile, a lot was also said for small businesses and the impact that the rolling blackouts have had on these businesses. You got a chance to speak to some of them. Are they trusting what government is offering for these businesses?
Well, I think there are two things, Heidi. I mean, the first one was that they're saying that help has taken a long time to get to the people that really urgently need it. They even spoke about what had happened in the past, especially during COVID, where they were going to give some sort of relief to these small businesses. So some of them still have not benefited from that. So to hear that there might be certain grants and so on that can be helping these small businesses, a lot of them just saying, well, it's the wait and see type of play at this point. They're saying that they'll see. When it happens, it will happen. I mean, Andile that was just speaking right now said in a decade that he has been running his company, he says that for that long he has never received help from government. So now he's saying that he'd rather count on himself than to be waiting for government to give him help. But as to whether or not that help will now come back to them, it's really just a matter of waiting. But at the same time, Heidi, they are hopeful. They're hopeful that there will be some sort of movement, especially when it comes to the part where there's load shedding, because that impacts their job on a very big basis. I mean, if you're in the digital platform, if you listen to Nqobile, he will explain this. He was saying that he runs a business online. His online servers are online. Internet is very important for him. And this is the space that is very new, and space that's very new for a lot of people. So it's very important that they work very hard and show that they can do the work. But it's very difficult when you have things like load shedding. So there is hope that load shedding will go away, but at the same time, they're just not holding their breath when it comes to the fact that there could be some relief that will come from government, because it translates so long to the people on the ground. But let's listen in.
The president was saying that they are scraping work experience, for first-time job seekers. They must also scrape it for first-time business people, because if you go to the mainstream bank, they need collateral. Where we would have gotten that if you haven't started the business? Also, what becomes an issue is that help takes time to get to people. There is a bounce back loan that was actually announced by the president during the COVID-19 crisis. A lot of young businesses, small businesses, were unable to get to that, because ultimately it was pushed to the mainstream banking, and people have to apply via the bank, and the bank would always apply, ask you for collaterals and all of that. It becomes very, very difficult, for young people to access help.
Thank you so much for that update. That was our reporter Nqobile Madlala out in Durban.